care who they put in there at tackle. Woo! They got to deal with that. There we go.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Josh Williams back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. Shout out to all of you watching live on IG right now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You already know the drill. Make sure you like, share, and push it to your people. Definitely want to keep seeing you guys, tagging us. Tag us in anything. You know what I mean? If you see something funny, a lot of you guys send me messages, but if you ever see anything funny, you can always tag the American Fan 365. I will put it up and I'll give you the cred. So thank you guys for tuning in there. Thank you guys for watching the replay on Zeal Radio, on Spotify, on YouTube. We appreciate all of you guys. Same rules apply for you guys. Make sure you're pushing it to your people. Dave, before we start, I really do like our opener. You know what I mean? The opener really, and we got to add you in there too. We got to get some grizzly bear.
I don't know about all
some
that.
action out there.
Do we?
But we do, of course. Especially we start. You know what I mean? I start taking you out on the road. We start hitting the. I might not have to pay for cameramen anymore. It'll be a glorious day. It'll be a glorious. Sorry, Carlos. Sorry to my guys in Denver and in New York. But we'll talk about this a little bit later on the show in terms of starting to do the moments and focusing in on moments, like great moments in sports, and basically like what moment is the all-time moment. What are
you
some
mean
of
like
your...
you mean like the moment I'm gonna have when the Lakers draft Bronny James in the first round? That's gonna be a great moment in my life.
Oh, that's how you tear down a franchise.
I'm trying to manifest. I want to see it so bad.
Oh no! And him walking out of the arena because he's not gonna be in the green room. He'll Karl Malone that.
I don't think he got that invite.
He didn't know. That got lost in the mail for sure. Shout out to all of our fathers out there. Father's Day was yesterday, so happy Father's Day to all of you. Dave, Father's Day is actually like, in terms of rankings of American holidays, Father's Day is behind like MLK Day and some others. Fathers don't get the love, and for it to be behind MLK Day with some people that do not like that holiday is saying something. That's like, man.
Yeah, I always did feel like Father's Day never really got the run. Like, you can go around, you can go eat anywhere on Father's Day. Mother's Day, no chance. It's like,
that's
so
fair.
My mom, like, we're gonna go someplace on Tuesday.
You'll
still be my mom on Tuesday.
I never understood people not liking MLK Day, like certain people out there.
I mean, I think you do understand because of the people that don't like it.
Well, but I mean, you're getting the day off. I'm from the East Coast, and we used to get Jewish holidays off, and
that's the only day those terrible people want to go to work. I want to work today.
Yeah, like right,
they remember nothing.
We get Rosh Hashanah, we get Yom Kippur. So for all of our Jewish fans out there, I appreciate you. I salute you, and l'chaim to all of you.
Wow, you took a risky bet on that one. I didn't think you were going to connect.
You didn't think I had it? You didn't think I had that in me?
Well, I mean, you're from the East Coast. You probably had a better shot.
That's right. I've been to more bar and bat mitzvahs than I care to count. I had a lot of Jewish friends growing up.
Little Haba Nagila on the dance floor?
With the chair?
Yeah.
Oh, I was ready. Oh, we're pulling out the chair? I was ready for my moment.
Were you ever one of the ones lifting the chair?
No, I was a child. That was for the adults. I was just out here riding the wave.
I thought maybe you just want to get involved in any way you could.
No, that's called danger. But let's take it around the world in sports. As you all can see, I'm rocking my Jerry West throwback jersey. Shout out to Jerry West, the logo, or not the logo, as the NBA cares to place it. But he passed away this past week at the age of 86. One of the greatest all time, one of the greatest clutch. He was Mr. Clutch. Players of all time. What are some of your thoughts on Jerry West?
A few things. I mean, it's tough for me because it's someone I always loved and respected, even with a lifelong career in association with the Lakers. But just a Hall of Famer 3 times from
Yes.
the 60 Olympic team and as an executive and as a player. Only man to be finals MVP on a losing team.
Yep.
And considering they lost in the finals all those years, you still call him Mr. Clutch. Nobody said a word about it. And one thing I could say from my perspective, on the list of cold white men of all time, I can tell you one thing no one ever said at any point in my life. No one was ever like, they never hit him with the Larry Bird. If he was black, he'd just be another player. Never hit Jerry West with that one, I'll tell you that.
Hey, and to your point, they shouldn't have ever hit Larry Bird with that either.
No, they should not have.
Larry Bird was a cold white boy. I'm here to say that up front and center.
That was a mistaken thing. For those of us from the Caucasus Mountains, we have to stand up for the ones of us who really showed up. And Jerry West, but your biggest thing I think you have to say about Jerry West is just his mind for the game never stopped.
Yeah.
And he was with the newest generations, all the newest changes. All the teams he advised, whether it was Memphis or the Clippers or Golden State.
Yep.
And some of the things that he forced to happen. He forced them to keep Kobe. He forced Klay Thompson to not be traded.
Yeah.
Because he literally was like, if you trade him for Kevin Love, I quit.
Yeah.
And that was at a time where people thought that was the great move.
Well, Kevin Love, that was when Kevin Love was Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Kevin Love was averaging 25 and 15.
Yeah, no, and it turned out to be the right move, and he was right so often. This man signed Shaq and traded for Kobe, but really drafted Kobe.
Yeah.
In 1 week.
Good Lord.
That was 7 days apart.
Kobe for Vlade Divac is still, Lord.
But remember, at the time, you were trading a center who was proven to be NBA worthy.
Yeah, for sure.
For a high school perimeter player. Nobody took a high school perimeter player. It never happened.
That's right. That's right.
So just the foresight for all that, and just his subtle things. Like you read these stories where like he was kind of running down Kobe in the pre-draft things to throw people off the scent.
Yeah.
So he always was a little step ahead. He always kind of was at the top of the game, no matter what team he was working with. So you just, there'll never be another career like it.
No, not spanning that amount of time. But shout out to Jerry West, and as he would always say, those damn Celtics. He went 0 for 6 against the Celtics in his career in the NBA Finals.
3 Game 7s.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, 3 Game 7s. But he can now finally build the ultimate team in heaven. He's up there with Wilt, Kobe, and Elgin, and they're taking on Bill Russell, Hondo, John Havlicek, and my man Sam Jones, who was Dave
Walton too.
Yeah, Bill Walton now too. That's true. Okay.
Gosh, both of them in the span of this finals, basically.
Yeah.
It's tough losses for the league.
That's 2. It comes in 3. So
one of them has already said. Whereas Bob Cousy said he's 95 with 1 foot in the grave, and he's literally holding on for one more Celtics title. He actually said this.
Hey, listen. Bob is my guy. When I was at the Hall of Fame, I got to know Bob Cousy really well because we gave out, and they still give out to this day, the Bob Cousy Award. At the time, it was sponsored by the Hartford, so Bob would travel with us. And Bob, great man, great man. But yeah, he is getting up there. He was getting up there when I was at the Hall. Yeah, but he was still real spry.
He's 95 years old right now.
Oh, shout out to Bob. Shout out to Sam Jones. Sam Jones was my PE substitute teacher, Dave, in middle school.
That's something.
Yeah, like he came in, he was this old man, had gray hair, and he was like, "I'll be your teacher today. I'm Sam Jones. I played for the Boston Celtics in the championship game." And we were like, "Man, get out of here, old man." Nobody believed him, right? He came in the next day and brought in some rings. It was like, "Yo, hold on, wait a minute." Shout out to me. I actually
lucky
won.
None of you were dumb enough to ask him if he wanted to play.
My first championship as a kid was actually at Sam Jones basketball camp. Well, I got best perimeter player of the whole camp too.
Wow,
I was out there cooking. Switching gears over to we had a drama-filled U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau had a huge come-from-behind victory over Rory McIlroy, and according to Dave, had one of the all-time splash outs out of the bunker on 18 to win the event. What are your thoughts, Dave?
Well, wasn't a chip in, but he chipped it within 4.
Yeah.
Out of the sand, and he was only 1 up because Rory had been charging back the whole day.
Yeah.
So he had to hit that because he didn't want to put himself in a position with a long putt that could have been a bad miss, or if that's happening, you're not even going to a playoff, but going to a playoff the way Rory was playing was not a good option for him.
Yeah.
So he, as somebody who had just missed at the PGA.
Yeah,
so
I literally was about to say that back to back. Because he was runner up for. He was almost going to a playoff at the PGA Championship.
Yeah, no, he's been close on some. Rory's been close on a lot lately.
Yeah,
that's why Rory got in the car and left.
Really?
You saw him watching it. He saw that chip shot. He was in the car. I think by the time Bryson was being handed that trophy, that man was already on the road on his way back home.
That's crazy. One issue I will say is, did anyone in national sports media even care? Which is sad to say.
You have to think. Well, I mean, a few. I mean, you got the Van Pelts of the world, but it's the U.S. Open. I mean, it's the hardest tournament every year.
Yep.
You win the U.S. Open, you did something.
Yeah, we're supposed to care, but I guess my question to you, Dave, is the PGA in trouble if Tiger ain't Tiger? That's I think because I'll say this just briefly. Tiger made golf cool. He made golf hip hop relevant. You know what I mean? Like, he made golf relevant on the national conversation. And they do have stars, but they don't have that connecting star that I feel like everyone. You say Bryson and everybody knows who that is. You say Tiger, regular people were like, "Oh, Tiger Woods." You know what I'm saying?
No, I think you'd be hard pressed to ever be able to find another Tiger because it was a similar case with Serena. With her and her sister Venus coming up, you opened up a sport that is white as can be to more people. Yeah. All of a sudden that sport became possible. Became possible to people from different places and different backgrounds. So you had a whole fan base. They don't care about the sport. Close friend of mine, Sean, he literally, anytime Tiger was in contention, that's all he talks about. If I haven't heard from him in months on the text, you'd start getting those Tiger texts every time. So it's just, there's a lot of people out there that they weren't golf fans, they were Tiger fans. Yeah. So I don't think you will ever find another person like that. And he gave the sport a warp speed evolution because he lengthened everything. He changed the whole nature of the game. Yeah, no, that's fair. He was so much better than everybody else for a stretch of time that it wasn't close. You had a good chance. Any tournament he was in, he was contending for. Yeah. So
he didn't miss cuts. Like, I forget some of his stats, but like some of his stats are so stupid where it's like that will never even be approached.
Well, and you took it for granted too. You look at it, it's like, oh, he made another cut. What does that mean? It's like, well, the reason why he put the record so far out of reach of everybody else is because you miss cuts. Yeah. You have bad weekends. The course doesn't go your way. You catch the wrong end of the weather when someone else catches the right end of the weather. All kinds of little stuff. U.S. Opens where it's just some great golfer. Scotty Scheffler had a bad one. Yeah. The best golfer in the world right now, who's putting up not Tiger-like dominance, but he's dominating people.
He is dominating for sure.
But yeah, you have days like that. So I think a lot of his things, I'm not sure it could ever be duplicated. Yeah. Because, and the other thing was it was unprecedented then. Now there is a precedent. Tiger is the precedent. So you have to put yourself even more at the top. Like, you'd have to come out
just ignorant
just win,
go to work
major after major after major. Yeah. To even be considered for it. Yeah. And that's
and not only
it's hard for a reason.
And not only that, but then continue. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't have like a Bjorn Borg moment where you got hot, had a great 3 years, but then go back to sleep or retire. You know, because that's okay. You get to 7 majors, you're still halfway to Tiger, and you're not even a quarter of the way to Jack. Like, you're still behind.
And that's your other big issue, is that you just don't have. You're not going to be that much better than everyone else either. He improved the rest of the field. Yeah. So now you have. Fair. I mean, if you had other golfers like this when Tiger was coming up, who knows what his career would have been.
Well, you know what? And who knows how much further he would have pushed himself.
It's true too.
You know what I mean? Because maybe I feel like certain aspects of Tiger's career in terms of swing changes and things like that were because I was bored. Like, it's like I'm better than everybody else.
Well, and clearly, as we found over the years, some of it must be what his body would allow too.
Yeah, that's true.
Because his body did break down for golf very early.
Yeah, because he was doing too much extracurriculars off the course. But I digress.
Waffle House champ.
I digress. Also, why in the world did they daggone schedule it right on top of the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Final? Like, that was poor planning.
You don't
by
compete.
Yeah, well,
you can be the same day, but it doesn't compete.
For me, I'd much rather put it in the hole of there is nothing else, because obviously everyone has the schedule. We all have the schedule for the NBA Finals, all those things months ago. So they have the schedule for the PGA Championship or the U.S. Open as well. Push it out.
Do you think that the people in charge of golf could care less that the NBA Finals are that day?
Yeah, I
think they feel like, especially in the post-Tiger world, I feel like there's not a lot of crossover. And if there's crossover, the people are going to watch both no matter what.
Well, don't you feel like, because think of it this way, UFC doesn't necessarily put a big card up against a big super boxing fight, usually, in theory.
They used to try to.
But it's like, don't take away potential eyeballs, even if, because, me and you will switch back and forth. But there's a lot of people where it's like, oh, I forgot, because it fell in the exact same moment as something that they care more about. Like, if they put it next week, there's nothing.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have daytime versus nighttime. They're not crossing the same path. So
no, that's fair.
I don't think it's really
as
I don't think you're losing anything.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Switching over to boxing, talking a little bit about boxing. Tank Davis KOs Frank Martin after a great bit of buildup, Dave. He put on another huge show with that late round knockout. Did you see it going this way? What was your initial thoughts?
First things first, let's make sure we give proper credit to Tank. Since Frank Martin is called Ghost, when he came out to the Ghostbusters theme, you already knew it was going to be a great day. he was ready to put on a show. But you're starting to reach the point where he is becoming a true great. Like, you have to question his next few fights are really going to see exactly where he ends up in the stratosphere of boxing, because he's got a lot of power at his size. There's a lot of guys do not want to take that hit.
No.
So the question now becomes, and I know one thing we'll talk about is who's next, is if he stays at that same weight, I think it could be a clean out the division type of thing, possibly.
I don't know if because he's a small guy, man. He's only 133 pounds. Frank Martin came into it 134. They both came under the limit of 135. He's a smaller dude, so I don't know how much bigger he really can get. You know what I mean? I don't know what he walks around at. I don't know if he walks around at 150 or how much he has to cut. But yeah, like I don't know in terms of who he fights, because, and this is jumping ahead a little bit. Devin Haney's Tank is a lightweight. Devin Haney's a super lightweight at 140. Terrence Crawford is a welterweight at 147 his last fight.
But Bud's too far.
Yeah.
You can't go that far.
Yeah, Ryan Garcia is another
Ryan Garcia's up at 40.
He's at 140. He fought at 143 in the last fight because he's overweight. But
which by the way, he's going to be getting a loss for that. Well, not a loss. It's going to be
a no contest.
Haney's team isn't going to win that far, but it's going to be a no contest. Deserved, by the way.
You think so?
Oh, 100%.
Because of the steroids?
They busted him on that stuff.
But it was okay. All right.
Shouldn't have even fought that fight anyway.
All right. I guess, yeah, true. They're that much overweight. But it was too much money to not go. Like, we'll fight. But like, it's similar to the John Jones. Like, if it's like 1,000th of a grain of salt in your system, there is something to be said about that.
Do you think in Ryan Garcia's case, the way he's acting now, it's 1,000th of a grain of salt? I think his stuff is for real.
Dang, that's tough. That's tough. That's tough.
Well, also the other thing is not only no contest, but as far as both of them have stated publicly, still no money.
Really?
Yeah, Oscar's saying something about they got to read their contracts for about when they get paid, but both of them have said they have not been paid yet.
Oh, no. That fight was a month and a half ago. I did not hear about that at all. Oh, Dave, that's terrible. But when we had Leonard Ellerbe in here, actually to promote the Tank versus Ryan Garcia fight last year, he actually did say that he had Tank on his all-time Mount Rushmore. Tank is now 30-0, 28 knockouts. I want to say like 9 of his last 10 have all been knockouts. Where do you actually put him? Like, where do you think he actually can go?
Very early. Could he go higher on the list? Yes. I mean, he'd have to, every main contender that he's going to fight, he'd have to fight all of them to be considered in an all-time great status. Leonard Ellerbe is doing what he should be doing.
Yes,
I mean,
of course.
He's promoting him,
of course,
and doing a great job at it.
Yeah.
So he's a much smarter man about boxing than myself, but I would have a hard time getting him that high unless all of a sudden he just starts running through with knockouts all the top contenders.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's going to be tough because for pretty much everybody I have listed down here, he's going to have to go to 140.
To get into that next evolution of money.
That's where everybody's moved to. I mean, Haney's moved up there to 140. Garcia's moved up there to 140, who he's already beaten soundly. You know, and a couple of other fighters, they're already there. So I think I'm not sure that there's a choice. Yeah.
Gotta get a little bit bigger. I will say also, fight weeks in Vegas, nothing mirrors what the buzz of a fight week when Mayweather was fighting. Like nothing at all.
A true master marketer.
Yeah,
because he built those HBO shows around himself, just full wrestling heel. He made people pay their good money, and it was a lot of money, in the hopes that he finally lost. Yeah. He knew how to, because when he was just Pretty Boy Floyd coming up,
no one cared. Yeah.
He turned that Money Mayweather thing on.
He went full Hollywood Hogan.
Yep. But you know what? One of the smartest decisions in the history of the sport.
Yeah. Look, I mean, because Dave, I'll say this, even when Canelo fights out here, yes, is there a very big Mexican and Latino contingent that, surrounds the city?
That
converges on Vegas? Yes. But in terms of like buzz and everyone knows it's a fight week, everybody, because, I feel like, okay, Super Bowl week, I felt it. Formula One, felt it. Like we all feel it. When it was a Mayweather, or I can only compare it probably to like a Tyson week back when Tyson was fighting, the whole city, like, there's gridlock traffic. There's more people in the streets.
There's been some others. I mean, you get people that pack it out. I mean, Canelo, he has enough in his own fan base that it doesn't matter. Yeah. If it's widespread known, his fan base is so loyal. They're packing every place out, no matter who he's fighting. So I big heavyweight fights are always going to be the biggest draw, just because it's big guys. But there's other guys out there. Some of these fights that I think Tank's going to have coming up, some of these have that type of possibility because you have. I mean, Tank and Ryan Garcia was a big fight.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. Definitely was. Both were undefeated at the time. And can we bring back outdoor fights in Vegas at some point?
Well, you can't do it at this time of year.
Well, no. Right now, that's cruel and inhumane. But like, can we bring those back? I want to see Fan Man. Bring Fan Man back. Where's Fan? Oh, you can't. You didn't think I was gonna bring Fan Man.
I didn't know you were gonna bring Fan Man out. But I don't think you have a venue that would suit that. Because Tank packed MGM out.
No, you know where we could put it? You could put it at the where they do the festivals on Sahara and the Strip now. You could put it over there.
Yeah, but that's...
Come on, work with me, boy.
But just think of it this way. Nowadays, all the amenities in these places on the inside, you ain't having people go outside all dressed nice.
Look, we're gonna bring L back on the show, and I'm gonna
no way.
I'm gonna throw the white hot light on him and be like, hey man, I need some more outdoor fights.
So I have a question for you. Yeah. I have a list of 4 names.
Okay.
And let me see which one of these you think is the best next opponent.
Okay.
Shakur Stevenson.
That's up there.
He has to move up to 140.
That's up there.
To fight him. But Shakur Stevenson, while undefeated, and by the way, people duck Shakur Stevenson left
yes,
and
they
right.
do. I went to one of his fights out here.
But his fights are not always the most exciting.
yeah.
It's not the most entertaining fight. I think he's a good boxer. We see if because that's the other thing, we got to see if Tank's power travels up to that higher weight. So that's one.
Okay.
Next one, also going to have to go up to 140. Teofimo Lopez.
Oh, friend of the show. Okay, got to bring Teofimo out here. Actually, he's supposed to be on the show too.
That's another half to move up.
Okay. Teofimo would be good. Who? Let me see. Do you have who Teofimo beat?
I certainly do. One of my favorite fighters in the world, who's coming off of a dominant win.
Yep.
Vasily Lomachenko.
Yeah, there it is.
Which, by the way, is a belt unification fight.
Okay.
Because he has one of the other belts at 135.
Okay. That's probably the next fight. I think that fight happens. If he gets through that one, I think that's when he should move up. But that's the fight.
I think, number one, that's a great option because I think it's a great draw. And if Lomachenko fights the way he fought in this last fight against Kambosos, on Kambosos' home soil, if he fights like that, that's a test.
Well, look, anything, like the biggest thing for Lomachenko really is he has to continue to be a fast starter. Because remember the
painfully
Teofimo
slow starts.
Yeah, the Teofimo fight, it was like, Vasily, it's round 8.
He's done that in so many fights.
Yeah,
that it's just painful.
Yeah.
My last one is the one that I think they're going to try to force to happen. That for two different reasons is never going to happen. That's William Zepeda.
Okay,
because he's the number one contender.
Yeah,
but one, what does that do for Tank?
Yeah,
I wouldn't understand how it helps him. He's number two, he's Golden Boy.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Golden Boy and PBC don't exactly work well together.
No, not at all.
And you're paying Tank his money.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah.
but yeah, to your point though too, that isn't a name that others know.
And that's the thing. It's a great fight for Zepeda.
Yeah.
And probably a great fight in the ring.
Sure.
But if I'm Tank, why am I taking that fight?
Yeah, I'm carrying
this fight. It's a challenging fight that I'm carrying the entire promotion of. Those other 3 fights
promote themselves.
Those are fights.
Yeah, those promote
that people
themselves.
will happily line up to see. Zepeda, you have to. For that means Tank has to come out and dominate.
Yeah.
A number one contender who has earned that spot. But like I said, also getting PBC and Golden Boy to work together on that to work out a good split is pretty close to impossible, I'd say.
We're the A side. How? Anyway, switching gears over to tennis, Carlos Alcaraz. Or Alcaraz, I always butcher this child's name. I always want to say, you see Alcaraz and you think Alcatraz, and I just don't want to go there. But he keeps winning, securing the bag after securing his first French Open and being the youngest. Dave, I didn't realize he was the youngest person to win a slam on all 3 surfaces. So he's the youngest all time to do that. He still hasn't done the career Grand Slam.
Well, it's because your boy, it took him so long to get to other surfaces.
That's uncalled for. That's uncalled for. But he secured a new Nike deal that will run through the mid 2030s and pay him about $15 to $20 million a year.
Which also means that'll get renegotiated if he keeps going up, and it'll be more.
Well, look, it's already. I don't know. He's already getting paid more than both Federer and Nadal at their peak.
Well, I mean, it's a different time, but 2,
is it too much too soon?
No, because I think they wisely moved forward because Fed is already retired.
Yeah.
And
well,
Nadal,
he switched over to Uniqlo, something like that.
But he was still wearing Nikes
until he wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a couple matches at the very end.
Yeah. That's fair.
But I think realistically, what you're looking at is they have recognized that it's time for a new face because Nadal may want to go on. His body has decided that he's not going on.
Hey, don't you push him off the ledge.
I'm not trying to, but if I'm Nike, I need to make sure I lock up the next thing because eventually Djokovic has to slow down.
Yeah.
Your surest bet by quite a bit is this guy, and he's charismatic, and he's young, and people love him.
And he's Spanish, so he gets that contingent. I didn't realize Yannick Sinner is also he signed like a $200 or $300 million Nike deal too.
Ooh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Sinner.
this happened like a year ago, and I was like, when the heck did that happen?
Wow. As you could tell by my surprise, I did not know that.
Yeah. I only saw that when I was reading this, and they were like, yeah, he still didn't even get Yannick Sinner money, and I was like, huh?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, then this is a bargain.
Yeah.
Because he's better than him.
Today.
Yeah,
and projection. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, I will. I'll show you afterwards. I don't feel like looking
Does
it up
he
now.
have some compromising pictures of Phil Knight or something? He got a tape of Phil Knight saying some language he shouldn't be saying? It's got to be something like that because
Has Yannick Sinner even won? He's won a slam, right? Like one?
Has he won one? I think it's one.
If he's won one, it's one.
Yeah, if one.
All right, before we switch gears over to the NBA, just wanted to go briefly over some of the things that are to come with the show. So, we talked about some of the interviews we have coming up. Still got to get some more interviews in here. Would love to get a baseball player interview in here during baseball season to give just insight and thoughts. Also talked about a little earlier the moments, and that's something that we're going to be doing in the month of July into August. And that will, like I said before, it'll include you guys picking. And remember, I'm not doing a full 64, so you guys are going to have to send in, your favorite moment, and then Dave and I can conspire and figure out which ones have the best shot at winning. But that is going to be, it's similar to the Jersey Jam. You guys are going to be voting on it, and the winner is going to get a all expense. Well, hold on. No, all expenses. Let me not say that. You're going to get tickets.
Be careful about all expenses.
Yeah.
All expenses means a lot.
All expenses means food and board. No, you ain't getting that. You're getting a ticket. You can figure the rest out. You're a grown person. But that'll be what's coming up. I actually also have to send John Vu his jersey. I keep forgetting to do that. So my bad, John Vu. Got some baseball coverage. Some training camp for the NFL coverage. Going to be trying to get out to some of the training camps this year. And then finally, want some more interaction with you guys so you guys can start to send in questions because it's going to get a little dry during the summer months. So send in questions.
Except the Olympics.
We do have the Olympics.
We do have the Olympics.
I'm going to be trying to get out to the Olympics. Yeah, I'm going to try to get to the Olympics this year. So, but yeah, and then just things that you guys want us to debate or talk about, you can send in videos and we'll put you guys up and you guys will be fan of the day. So that's some of the things that are coming.
You may be going to Paris and not Caitlin Clark.
Oh, yeah, Caitlin Clark ain't going. Somebody got to get hurt. Caitlin Clark's going to have to.
A few people are going to have to get hurt.
She's gonna have to run the Tanya Harding, Jeff Gillooly. Someone's going to have to get Gillooly.
Well, I think she's going to have to Gillooly like 4 or 5. Worried some of these Caitlin superfans out there might be capable of it.
Hey, you know what? That's where it's going to happen. There's somebody that has a shrine of Caitlin Clark that's out here plotting.
Saddest part is it's not her fault.
Yeah.
She's not even encouraging these people. They're just
isn't.
acting a certain way.
Yeah, that's true. That is actually very, very true. All right, switching gears over to the NBA. Our NBA segment today is brought to you by our friends at Coco Love, the beverage of choice of the American Fan 365. Head over to www.cocolovewater.com for your own case of coconut refreshment and use the code TAF365 for your discount on Hawaiian Beach vibes. 3-1 does the NBA Finals end tonight, Dave, in Boston.
I feel like it's not going out on a limb to say I feel like that's certainly the way that it's heading without question, just because I think they're going to come out like you guys are playing 40+ minutes tonight. Just be ready. And they're gonna come out and try to end it tonight because you can't give hope. I'm certainly not gonna pick for the first time out of 157 times for a team to come back from 3-0. I'm definitely not doing that. But you can't give them this game.
Yeah, because
within this game, then you could very easily be looking about having to come back home for a game 7. So I was actually at work. That's only happened 4 times in NBA history. Only 4 times has a team even gotten to a game 7. Yeah, you're you're in real unprecedented territory to come back from that much.
I will say the only thing, and I know we'll continue to dive into this, but those Mavs, they do have one person that has lived this in a finals before, and if they can
Very
get it,
different circumstances.
very, very true. But he did also have a running mate that was one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game at the time, running with him in LeBron. Obviously there's no Kyrie nut punch, Draymond Green nut punch.
That's another huge factor
in this one.
Let's not act like that's nothing.
We can't let that just slide. But if they're able to get it, if they get through this game, I feel like a lot of the pressure does start to mount on Boston because
the pressure shifts.
Boston has shown the propensity to break down mentally before. We've seen Jason Tatum crack. We've seen Jaylen Brown crack. And I feel like if they do get to that point where, we lost again, and it gets back to Dallas, all bets are off.
Likely, yes. But that's why I think that you really go out there with full intensity today. As I saw somebody say, I wish I could credit the right person. One team came to play. The other team came to celebrate the other day.
Yeah.
They were ready to hang that banner. Everybody thought
they were going to
Dallas was done.
Yeah.
We still have to see. I mean, Luka showed some level of intensity on defense. Can he do that for 2 games?
3? You need 3 more?
Well, he's going to need for all of them. For every single game, he's going to have to show up and stay in front of people.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's a lot to ask for him.
And him being hurt too. So it's like you're asking him to exert himself twice, which that's asking.
And once calls don't go his way, the refs are getting very tired of his act.
Well, that's fair, but I will say, and this is okay, I'm going to say this right now because some of the Celtics fans have been getting on me because usually I kind of rah-rah around the Celtics. I don't have any real animosity towards the Celtics or the Lakers, for that matter.
Speak for yourself.
Well, I know you despise the Lakers. But I will say this incarnation of the Celtics, I just don't like them because they, because they've beaten my freaking Wizards in the playoffs a few times. But like,
who hasn't?
You knocked that off.
Any Western Conference team, that's for sure, because they ain't seen him.
Shut up. But Jason Tatum gets so many just nonsensical foul calls to send him to the line. He's a very good free throw shooter. That it either extends leads or stops runs where it's like. But Luka, on the other hand, is the same level star, if not bigger, especially
definitely bigger star,
especially internationally, not a question. But he doesn't get the same calls, and he be getting bumped. He gets hit at the basket, no call. So like, I get his frustration because on the other side, it's like you touch Jason Tatum and his behind's going to the line.
But as you know, a lot of this is self-fulfilling prophecy, I think, in some ways, in that Luka, as much as I love him, is one of the worst complaining to the refs players in the league.
Yeah.
Like, he's at the tippy top.
Okay.
It's bad. So it's just
boy that cried wolf sometimes.
Sometimes it starts getting tuned out.
Yeah.
Some of these guys don't like you anymore. These refs are human.
Yeah.
Some of them are subhuman.
We digress.
I won't say any names because some of them you like that I do not care for. But I
shout out to Tony Brothers. That's my guy.
Thank you for saying it, not me. But seriously, some of these guys have got to be sick of it.
Yeah,
it's the same thing that happens to Draymond with stuff too. It's like we heard enough.
Yeah. Well, okay. Do you give me the reasons why you think the Mavs could be the first team in history to come back from 3-0?
Even though I don't think it will happen, the reasons why is you have definitively the best player in the series. I don't think, even hurt, I still don't think that's questionable.
And that's crazy.
They have a good enough defensive team around him, and if you catch a few more games of people like PJ Washington and Derek Jones being locked in from 3 like they were against Oklahoma City for some reason, then you have real possibilities.
Yeah.
Because then you have the type of team that can overcome the double teams that are coming at these guys.
Yeah.
So, and Luka's not afraid of anybody.
No.
That's your other part too. Is there's not a moment that's too big for him. I don't think that exists.
Yeah.
So that's your biggest, and Kyrie has been there.
Mm.
You know, Jason Kidd has played on a championship winning team. He knows what these moments are. So I think that's where your possibilities are, but that's another thing. Until another team, and honestly, even when a team does come back, I still won't expect anybody else to do it because the numbers tell me it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The numbers tell me it's not going to get to a game 7, and it probably won't get to a game 6. I mean, that's just, we can't go against an entire history. Just because I like Luka, I'm not going to forget everything that's happened in the history of the league.
Not going to get crazy. Yeah, and you said how many is 157 times all time?
Yes, the 157th time is this time.
Yeah, yeah. I'll simply say, if not now, when?
It's got to happen at some point.
It has. Someone has to be the one to crack the code.
I think for a situation like that to happen, I think you'd have to have a significant enough injury to a major player or a significant injury comeback of a major player for something like that. Like, say if, you know, the Bucks had made it to the finals and Giannis was out the first 3 games. Giannis is back in there.
Yeah.
Changes the entire team.
Things happen. Yeah, okay. So
in a situation like that,
that's fair.
You could see something like that. So I think it's possible. We may never see it in our lifetimes. Odds are it's going to happen at some point, though.
It has to happen at some point, and I think I mean, for me, how it happens, it's literally just one game at a time. And I know that's as cliche as it comes, but if you win this one on their home floor, which has only happened once this playoffs, you do steal some energy. Some energy is taken from them because now it's like, all right, we got to finish it. It's got to be done.
No, now
and you're going back into a hornet's nest of Dallas, which you saw those fans were amped up. So now this is their final game of the season because this is their last home game. I think that if they're able to get it to Game 6 obviously is the series, but each one game at a time. But if you're able to get it to that, Game 7, all bets are off. Just to get it to Game 7. I feel if you put yourself in position to even make it there, God bless. If you lose on that, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
And another thing that we brought it up multiple times with this series, 3-point variances. These teams shoot a lot of threes.
Yes, they do.
So if one teams are dropping and one teams aren't, that's where you see the true possibilities. And I think that's another thing that can contribute to this happening someday. Because, I mean, Boston shooting 40-some threes a game.
Yeah.
So it's when they're having a bad night, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like they had their worst half of the season in any game.
Yeah.
And I started watching something else. It was just like, this game is over. Sometimes you could see, even with 3-point swings, sometimes you just see the look in the eyes. It's like,
not tonight.
You came here to be talking to Adam Silver. You didn't come here to finish this series off.
100%. JJ Redick refuses to be second choice. After it was reported that the Lakers had offered Dan Hurley $70 million over 6 years, JJ Redick, you know they were only going to offer him less. They were going to offer him probably 50. He's like, I just saw you offer 70 to this man over here. What makes you think I'm going to accept that?
Your tough part is with JJ coming in as a first-time coach, that I think they thought they were going to get him as a discount. When your problem is JJ's got stuff going on.
Yeah.
JJ's got his podcast world going on. He's making money on that.
He's made his own money. Remember, JJ Redick made over $100 million.
JJ's made his money playing basketball.
Crazy to say.
JJ makes money talking about basketball for himself and for ESPN.
And no pressure.
Yeah. It's very different. And JJ strikes me as nothing but a smart guy. I listen to that podcast. It even goes deep in the weeds for me on that. They go deep. Real deep. So it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. But I can see where he's coming from. All of this is posturing. Like I've come to believe the people reporting these stories now that Woj just kind of got worked by a family he has a long association with, so Hurley could get more money to stay at UConn. Because why in the world would you not go to UConn? And now you're starting to look at it. It feels like it has to be JJ, but if it's not, are you going to bring in James Borrego? Fantastic coach, but he's not the profile that they're looking for.
Yeah.
Number one. Number two, Cleveland might snatch him up before you get to him. So we're still talking about JJ like it's over. He's not even done with his regular job yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they're not getting a cut rate coach in JJ, and that's another problem for that franchise. Is while they are rich by the terms of all of us in the world, for NBA ownership they are not rich.
Talking about the Lakers.
Yeah, they just aren't, because all their money comes from owning the Lakers.
Yes.
Which, granted, does not make you poor by any stretch of imagination.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about these hedge fund guys,
anybody that has, this is just play money.
correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, no, this is our money.
Yeah.
Like, the brand is our money. That's a fair point.
But believe me, that brand brings them quite a bit of money. But you have to have these contracts in escrow and things like that. So you can't just really just
piss off money.
Fudge things around.
Yeah.
You have to have the money. And that was your other thing with when you have Hurley or anybody else. All these guys are going to want multiple years in contracts. And you're still paying people.
Yeah.
So
Stop firing coaches.
You start packing that up. Well, that's where your problems come in is you have to get this one right now, because you're just coming off the books with Vogel. You're still paying Darvin Ham.
Yep.
And you're going to have to pay this coach. And it seems to me that they kind of try to bargain basement it on the coaches. Plus, there's going to be some coaches that don't want to sign up for the LeBron experience. I've seen many people say, like, yeah, for Dan Hurley, I have a shot to go for 3 in a row, which only one other coach has ever done.
That's right.
Or I can go there, and in a couple months, I'll be the scapegoat for anything that happens after a bad game. Because we know who's not taking responsibility.
Not once. But yeah, no, to your point as far as bargain basement, remember Eric Spoelstra got an 8-year, $120 million deal. So
he's not even the highest paid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so yeah, it was a lot of money, and it sounds like a ton of money for a coach. But coaches are getting paid now in the NBA. So for him to make the move off of college, where he has a great situation, has built a culture or rebuilt a culture, to leave that, it doesn't make much sense.
He's got a real shot at doing something near unprecedented, number one. And number two, when you talk about coaches getting paid now, you have to. Because with the amount that players' money has gone up, you've had to move coach money up at the high levels, especially commensurate to that. Because if you bring in a guy that you're going to pay, $2 million a year, none of these players are going to listen to him. You need to bring in somebody for years and money, both. Like the years are a big thing too, because otherwise these guys are just like,
you only here for 2 years.
You're on a 2-year deal for $4 million.
Yeah,
they'll be fine cutting that check. It's like, I'll break them off some of my money to cut that check to get rid of you. I feel like Anthony Davis might have done that with Darvin Ham.
I hate you so much. Switching gears over to the Golden State Warriors, Klay Thompson unfollows the Warriors, and I have 2 things on this. One, I hate that this is news in 2024.
These are the dumbest news things that happen.
And 2, how dumb and jaded are you, Klay Thompson, to do this, to think that this would not raise alarm bells? Like, even if you are going to leave or you're feeling disrespected, like, you are the Golden State Warriors. Steph, and Draymond.
Just to break in, you're saying, how dumb are you? Was this a dumb move at all? Because he's in the position now. He's made his money. He would like to make some more money.
Yeah.
Now you're at the point with Golden State where it's time for the hometown loyalty to the old vet discount. And he himself doesn't think he's there. I hope he's wrong, because I love Klay Thompson as a player, but he looks like he might be there.
He's there. So this was my thing, and I've said this on the show before as far as the Warriors go. Like, the Warriors were in the perfect position to have a Spurs-level run with all the young draft picks because they reloaded on the fly when people were hurt. They had down years with the players
But
were
those
hurt.
draft picks didn't work out.
Well,
One of them being the COVID year, because with Wiseman, you have to look at that COVID year as who knew? Nobody knew anything about anybody.
yeah.
So that was part of that. But they didn't knock those picks out.
But they traded all the picks away. Like Jordan Poole, he gets sucker punched by Draymond Green, but he looked good. Kuminga has been good in moments.
And by the way, speaking of that Draymond Green thing, boy, stop. When he's sitting here, he was sad he didn't get to celebrate him getting that contract. You hated that man. That punch you threw is a punch of hatred behind it. Shut up. Draymond Green's nonsense. Good Lord. The narrative creation by that man is too much. Get out of here. Like, seriously? I remember when they had the whole thing coming into training camp that year. He had that whole TNT documentary.
Yeah.
What a piece of garbage that was. It's like, oh, let's not talk about the fact that he put his weight into that punch too.
You know what, though? I will say, and I've said this too, that was all the Golden State Warriors doing, because there's no way TMZ gets that footage without it leaking out of the building. Well, and the fact that they
if not the Golden State Warriors, it was somebody in the building though.
Oh, that's
had to be
1,000% inside the building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the fact that even leaked out, because when I
don't think it was Bob Myers, but I think it's somebody that had Bob Myers' phone number.
But I tell you guys all the time, like, fights happen on planes, fights happen in the locker room, fights happen in the huddle. Like, fights happen. So, like, that wasn't, when I saw
Josh,
it wasn't
here's
bad.
the question.
Yeah.
Was it over cards or a woman?
Well, no. They were like, basically, it was trash talk. Jordan Poole was saying some stuff. Now, listen,
he's Draymond is corny as ever then. If it's over just straight trash talk.
It was over trash talk.
That's weak.
Because
you were weak then.
He would basically, because remember, Jordan Poole had just gotten his money, and he was kind of throwing his weight around, like throwing his checkbook around, like you don't even got my money. Like, you know what I mean? And it started over money.
That's not enough.
And then Jordan Poole, of course, went to Michigan. Draymond Green went to Michigan State, and Jordan Poole was talking about how he got more chicks at Michigan State than Draymond Green did.
He's probably telling the truth.
Not a lie. Draymond Green is not an attractive man. And so like it was trash talk. It was trash talk.
Over trash talk, unacceptable.
He jumped him.
Unacceptable. on trash talk. No, you know the truth. It's usually cards or women.
Yeah,
but trash talk, come on.
That's
awful. That's inexcusable. Because I mean, I've heard some horrific things said to me in trash talk.
Yeah,
it's not one rich guy with another rich guy that he thinks shouldn't be that rich. Come on.
Yeah,
you're doing just fine, Draymond. You're doing just fine.
You're doing great for the second round pick.
Second round pick.
You're doing fantabulous.
That man's gonna make the Hall. He is.
He is.
Considering what we're not gonna legislate all that again, but
yeah, he is.
He's gonna be there.
He is. Switching gears finally over to the NHL. Both series, the NBA Finals and also the Stanley Cup Final, were 3-0. The Oilers have the Oilers Day finally unlocked the keys to Sergei Bobrovsky. Bob, after having him pulled after 5 goals allowed in Game 4, ended up being 8-1.
Time will tell. I mean, it's once again tough to think of somebody coming back 3-0, but in hockey, it's happened.
Many times.
In hockey, it's a possibility, especially since all you have to do is get your goalie hot. Because now you've got some shots in there. You've
cool off another one.
Yeah. You've heard that enough times, and enough of those games were close enough.
Mm-hmm.
It could have gone either way. So I think they might have. Now, you have to wonder if maybe they scored almost too many in that game.
That's what you're saying.
Might need to save a few up, but they might have cracked the code. As you've brought up in the past before, he can be gotten to.
Yes.
And they just didn't figure it out for 3 games, really.
Yeah.
And then they did figure it out. They figured it out.
Connor, a few stats to chew on. Connor McDavid finally scored a goal in the final. He had 1 goal and 3 assists. Leon Draisaitl had 2 assists. Holloway had 2 goals and an assist. Everybody got off. This was your game to get off. If you got off, if you didn't have points in this game, you were not trying hard. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins ended up as a -1. So it's like, bruh, how did you
-1?
how did you get a minus in the plus minus?
It's an 8-1 game.
Like we had guys that were
-1.
+3 in the game. He was -1. So he was out there for the one.
Should be ashamed.
The one goal that they had, and apparently none of the other.
If
good
you
ones
happen
that
to
they
win the Stanley Cup, then your name shouldn't go on the trophy. -1 in that game.
Terrible. My last question is, what if they get 2? Because their game is tomorrow. So game 5 of the NBA Finals is tonight. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow. What if they're able to get number 2 in Florida?
That to me would be much more concerning, just because the way momentum shifts in hockey, and if you finally get to the goalie, I mean, Bobrovsky carried him there. So if you get to, and he was the biggest part of their wins, I'd still worry about Matthew Tkachuk is a bad man.
He's a bad boy.
But man, let me tell you, gosh, could you imagine if Tkachuk and Tatum, who both went to school together, if they?
I didn't realize they went to school together.
They grew up together. They went to the same school.
St. Louis, Keith Tkachuk, St. Louis Blues. I did not realize.
Yeah, there's
that.
pictures of them together as kids.
Oh, shut up! That's dope.
Wild. I don't think it's happening in either case, but hockey, it just because of the nature of the sport, I think it's much more of a possibility. I can't fathom it in basketball. If you get to Game 7, I'm still gonna say Boston's gonna win, just because hockey. I don't know, man. You get another game. I mean, if they go to Florida and get a convincing win, like a 5-2 or something like that, where they really
4-1.
Where it was like you didn't blow them out, but you handled the whole game. Then you got real problems. Then you're going to go to an insane Edmonton.
Hold on. Have you seen the way Edmonton, their arena looks? That thing looks like a spaceship in the middle of the city. It was glorious. I was like, wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, they must have got one of those European stadium designers. Those European stadiums, man, they really bring it.
It's really pretty. I was like, I see why everyone wants to go play in Edmonton. That thing is, I mean, you're in Edmonton, but it was gorgeous. I'd never seen the outside. I saw when they were doing the Goodyear footage.
And they don't mess around in these other countries with the stadiums. They do not play.
Nope. Because it's going to be built. It'll be there for the next 60 years.
Yeah, no, you'll be outdated at some point. But when you come out, woo, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys so much again for tuning in to another episode of the American Fan 365. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please make sure you're sharing and tagging us so that we can make sure that we give you guys the love and credit that you deserve. Please also let us know any questions or different things that you guys want to talk about or have us talk about, because it's going to be getting dry around here soon. So we're going to keep working.
Speak for yourself. Olympics is coming. Simone Biles coming.
We'll see you guys next time. Take care.